Herb. Herb is a plant. I mean, herbs are good for everything. Herb.
Welcome to Eugene Cannabis TV. You made the trip. You got DanK and Blue Whale is with us again today, and I appreciate Blue Whale coming in. This is episode 642, and the Oregon legislature is in session, and so we're all in trouble. But anyway, Blue Whale and I went up to the rally. That's why we didn't have the show last week, and we went up to the rally, and we're in Salem for the 2 p.m. Save the OMMP rally. Well, he and I were the only ones there. I don't know what happened. I still haven't found out. Nobody's been, but some reason there was no rally after they said there was going to be one. But we did stop and see our legislature's staff people and talk to them and left information and encouraged them to keep up the fight for the patients. The thing I always like to tell, I've been saying quite a while, is that when I speak to legislatures, I say, do something for the patients for a change, and not something to the patients like you usually do, you know. But of course, they don't listen to me. But anyway, you're talking about guns, and people know that marijuana and guns don't mix, apparently.
No, the courts have ruled, and it's been upheld, that you can't have a medical marijuana card and smoke marijuana and have a gun permit. And the way I feel about that, with going into it deeply, you know which box to check.
What's that?
When you purchase the weapon.
Oh, yeah. Oh, right. Yeah.
You know which box to check.
Yeah, right.
You know, I'm not saying any more than that.
Yeah.
Be
honest as you can afford to be.
And the funny thing is, the courts have said, when they upheld it, they said that the Second Amendment didn't apply to marijuana users because they're drug abusers, which I find a crock of baloney.
Yes.
And
offensive.
And it's very offensive, and it's taking aim. You can't disparage Muslims, but you can disparage pot smokers. Now tell me how that is right. But talking about that, I just want to talk for a minute. Logan Kitzhaber, which is the son of our disgraced governor of Oregon, John Kitzhaber. Last summer, Logan Kitzhaber was drunk, and he had smoked pot the night before.
And he was underage.
He was underage. Remember that? He had smoked pot the night before. He broadsided an RV, sent 2 people to the hospital. They had to have surgery because of this broadside in their RV. He went to court, and you'll never guess what the sentence was. Because he was a Kitzhaber, he injured 2 people and sent them to the hospital with serious injuries. He got 7 days in jail and 5 years of probation.
And lost his driver's privileges for 5 years.
And lost his driving privileges, right. They said it was a kid thing.
Yeah.
But so incidentally, when I heard this today, because I listened to a lot of talk radio, there was the defense lawyer on one of the talk shows, and they were talking about Logan Kitzhaber. And he said that he was charged a 3rd degree because the 2nd degree would have been a measure 11 felony if he'd have been charged with 2nd degree. So,
do you think his last name helped him, or what?
Well, yes, you better believe it did. But the lawyer, incidentally, they were talking about him using pot the night before. And he says that's, and this is exactly what the lawyer goes, he goes, that's incidental. He said that pot had nothing to do with him. He said he was extremely drunk and alcohol was the problem. And I'm going right on because this defense lawyer kind of stood up for ganja.
Yeah,
He said he smoked it the night before. It had nothing to do with this car wreck at all.
It's in his system, but it's not affecting his impairment.
It's because it stays in your system 52 days. You know, so I just wanted to talk. But if he'd had any amount of pot in that car, any kind of ganja, he'd be going to prison right now.
Oh, yeah.
That's this double standard we face. You know, we talked to the legislators' assistants about this very thing, this double standard that we have in this country right now. You can drink alcohol till it runs out your ears and murder people and walk away. It's happened before. But don't have ganja in the car because you're going away. Any amount of ganja. You know, so
it's one of my joke cartoons I've come across years ago. I showed a judge, and he says, "You've been working for 20 years. You've been married for 15. He says you've stayed out of trouble. You've paid all your taxes, but finally we caught you with marijuana." So you can put him to prison.
Yep. Oh yeah. That must have been down south somewhere.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But so. It just goes to show you that the law isn't always on the side of the cannabis user. But, you know, things aren't changing, but it's just Americans are hard-headed. And change, they don't like change. You know, so it takes a while. You know what I'm saying? It takes a while to get there, but we have made progress. So.
You guys got two articles in here about guns and ganja. You know, over here it says, "Don't ask, don't tell" on Oregon gun purchases, which is what you're just saying. And over here it's guns or ganja. The feds say you can't have both. So two different articles, approximately. I mean, about the same type of subject. But yeah, being the son of a gunsmith, so I think I have quite a, you know, I've been on guns all my life, and a cannabis user since the mid-'80s or late 80s, and I don't see any reason why a cannabis person would be any worse than anybody else. Or
you know, the thing that gets me, hunters, and they didn't say a word about hunters, they sit around a campfire with their rifles or their shotguns, drinking alcohol, and they're allowed to have, and that's basically all they're doing is drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
If they were honest about it around a campfire, you know, but they're allowed, there's nothing said about them. See, this is what I'm talking about, this double standard.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so it's slowly changing, but not soon enough for us.
Yeah, and of course with Jeff Sessions as our Attorney General, the guy that says good people don't smoke marijuana, it's hard telling where we're going. You know, who knows where we're going.
I just read something last week where Jeff Beauregard Sessions is going to go after the recreational. And I've been saying that for months. You know, they won't mess with the medical, but they'll go after the recreational. Because they don't want people recreating. You know, for some reason, you know, beyond me, but I'll tell you, if my doctors want to give me prescription drugs for my PTSD, and I've taken them before, but I didn't like them because they make you into a zombie.
Yeah, by the way, what's your, being a veteran and being in the medical and the health system, VA health system, what's it been like being a cannabis user over the years, and now how is it now?
They don't ask. No drug test at the VA. They don't ask. and you really don't have to mention it to them. You know, it's really none of their business.
Well, I remember it was a number of years ago, and I remember the article. I read the letter that the head of the VA came out and said that if, as long as the veteran was participated in the state medical marijuana program, they wouldn't be. I forget what the term was, but in other words, they wouldn't mess with them anymore. So that's interesting.
And it's funny because I've got a young new doctor, a young lady. She's very nice, and she says I'm healthier than most of the veterans that come to her. And I don't talk to her about any of this at all. But she said, you're healthier than most, because a lot of the veterans have big bellies, and they might be overweight, they're crippled. She said, you're very healthy, and so.
I remember doing a story years ago on the show about the Israel Army is using marijuana for treatment of PTSD.
Right, right. I read that. Yes, yeah. Talking about the veterans, you know, they had Congress fails to give veterans fair and equal access to medical marijuana. A final version of the Department of Veterans Affairs funding bill was passed by Congress on September 28th. This was last year, 2016. The funding bill originally included a provision that would have made it easier for military veterans to access medical marijuana in states where medical marijuana is legal. Unfortunately, that provision was stripped from the final bill before the final bill was passed. Below is more information via press time I received from Congressman Earl Blumenauer's office. To get to the point about this, this would have given you, if you're a veteran, the right to go to your doctor, and she could talk to you about cannabis, and she could sign your papers for a medical card. This is how extensive, when the funding was passed by the U.S. Senate, the U.S. Congress, all the funding was passed for it. And this one U.S. Senator, Mark Kirk, he's a Republican from Illinois, a vocal opponent of the proposed during Senate consideration and on the conference committee that determined the final language of the legislation. Earl Blumenauer called on him to respect and compassion for veterans, change course and support the bipartisan proposal. So this one senator voted it down. You would add access to your VA doctor. She would have signed the papers. Besides saving you money at the clinic, you could have talked to your VA doctor about it. So I think that's real. I hope they bring that back up.
My primary care physician said, I'm going to consider using marijuana along with your painkiller, your Oxycontin. They work great together.
I get offered everything. I've been offered everything at the VA from, God, I can't remember all of them that I've been offered. All downers. They're all downers, and I go, I don't want none of that stuff. I don't want none of that. You know, take it away. You know.
So we'll be back. We're just about ready to end this session. We're going to be back with another one real quick, and we're looking at some stories in the Oregon Cannabis Connection. So they're at your most of your local pot outlets. So we'll be right back. You just watched the first half.
Are you tired of following all the rules? Ready to let loose? Have a little fun? Sounds like you need to. Get high. And with Narcomex Incorporated, your direct-to-consumer drug trafficking solution, you can. Narcomex values your business. That's why we're your #1 supplier of drugs, and you're our #1 consumer. These billions can't be wrong. We work hard for your business and have killed not 1, not 2, but 3 Mexican police and 2 journalists just to keep you high with that very joint. Why, our commitment to keeping you supplied has killed over 17,000 people right next door. Traffickers, soldiers, journalists, prosecutors, you name it. We're that passionate about your business. We've even begun to destroy some of your favorite tropical beach destinations. Because if you smoke enough at home, You don't even need a beach. But don't legalize it or grow it at home. Let us do the work for you. Sure, consumers boycotted evil companies, but there's no need to boycott Narcomex Incorporated, your direct-to-consumer drug trafficking solution, also offering heroin, meth, and cocaine. Narcomex Incorporated. Live a little, and forget others won't.
Welcome back to the second half of show number 642, the Eugene Cannabis TV. You got your host, DanK, and we got Blue Whale with us again, and appreciate it. And we're looking at stories in the Oregon Cannabis Connection. We've also got the new Freedom Leaf book here. And I want to do some quick announcements. I talk about Mercy TV about every show, and I remembered to call in last week and got to talk to them for a little bit. They have that half-hour show on Friday, and we've got the phone number here. It's 503-588-6444. But you put that in your Google Calendar like I do with an alarm on it, and it'll help you remind you to give them a call and give them some support. Good people. It's Perry and PK, and they've been on our show many times. And let's see, the Oregon, here's another thing came across. April 28th coming up is the Oregon Marijuana Business Conference. It's going to be at Valley River Inn this year. In the past years, it's been at the Hilton. But this year, it's going to be the Valley River Inn. That's put on by Alex Rogers. I know Alex well. Alex Rogers actually owns Alternative, Northwest Alternative.
Right.
That is Alex Rogers.
Oh, okay.
I won't speak of him too much. But anyway,
Okay.
that's who it is. The conference is it's a one-day conference. It's $149. And if you want the all-inclusive pass, it's $249. So it's not for the lighthearted or the empty pockets. This is the part of what I call pay-to-play. As an activist, you would go to an event like any kind of a cannabis event, and it would be expected to some courtesy, and people would welcome you to come in at no charge, right?
Right.
That's part of being an activist. That's part of the work, you know. Not these ones. Unless you're in the in crowd, you're going to pay. So anyway, and then the third annual Oregon Hemp Fest, which used to be the Umpqua Hemp Fest. Now it's called the Oregon Hemp Fest with the trademark. Seattle Hemp Fest has trademarked the word Hemp Fest now. So anyway, that's in June 23rd, 24th, and 25th. Oh, they also went to 3 days, which I just realized. But anyway, and they got 3 stages. So I've met those people, really nice people. I just haven't been able to make their event yet.
That's the Peace Heathens.
What's that?
That's the Peace Heathens. That's who puts this on.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
That's the Peace Heathens.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what's going on in June. So put it in your calendars, and see, tickets are $20 a day, and cost of camping is included in your ticket, which is $20 per day. So, $20 per day.
You weren't talking about the Seattle Hemp Fest.
No. This is Roseburg. It's in Roseburg on June 23rd, 24th, and 25th. So I'll give you this one this evening and take it with you, and you'll have that information on it and some other stuff. So anyway, so continuing with the Oregon Cannabis Connection, and we were talking about veterans.
I got to read you this story because it's too much for words. In the Massachusetts National Guard and the state police are proving resistance to change. National Guard used helicopter to raid 81-year-old's home and seize a pot plant. When will this madness end? At the end of September, the Daily Hampshire Gazette reported both entities waged a mission to confiscate weed from Massachusetts residents, sweeping through neighborhoods and snatching up sprouting cannabis plants that were outside in plain view from homeowners' yards. Oh my God. Of 44 plants seized in the operation last month, one case in particular has incited outrage. On September 21st, police crews through Amherst, Northampton, and other areas of the state to scan yards for plants. In South Amherst, the Gazette reported National Guard and state police targeted the home of an 81-year-old Margaret Halcomb. Margaret was growing a single cannabis plant in a raspberry patch She could use it to treat her arthritis and glaucoma, as well as to fall asleep at night. Though Massachusetts made medical marijuana legal in 2012, only patients with certain approved conditions may hold a license. Glaucoma is one of the approved conditions to qualify for a license, but Margaret does not currently possess one. She has concerns about obtaining cannabis the legal way. I just want to read this because this is how stupid this has gotten. She didn't have a card. Massachusetts has medical, but she didn't have a card. 81-year-old lady, she had one plant. They used a military-style helicopter to initiate their joint raid on Holcomb. She was not home at the time of the raid, but her son, Tom Holcomb, was. They used thermal image to detect marijuana plants. 10 minutes later, he says a truck filled with confiscated marijuana plants pulled up to Holcomb's home. Several state troopers approached the property and one showed the badge. He asked me if I knew there was a marijuana plant growing on the property. I didn't answer the question. I asked, "What are you doing here?" Tim says he was told the officers were not interested in filing criminal charges and rather simply wanted to confiscate the contraband. The plants that had been collecting were slated to be destroyed in a controlled incineration. No criminal charges were filed against anyone. While this might be progress as opposed to arresting users, officers' behavior was questionable in other ways. It's likely authorities are using budgeted funds prior to the end of the raid. I just wanted to read that because it's stupid.
Yeah.
It's people with no common sense.
Yeah, that's some of the sanity is finally people are getting. Some states are getting sanity and doing the legalization. Well, of course, legalization. It's not really legalization. It's further decriminalization, actually.
Yes.
But anyway.
Yes.
That's another story.
We can do a show on that.
Yes.
But it just we're making, like I said before, we're making progress, but.
I like to say we're taking 3 steps forward and 2 back, but we're getting moved forward.
while women and children get hurt, and they should be focusing on that type of crimes, they're worried about one cannabis plant. How insane is that?
Oh, yeah.
And they're wasting fuel and police officers.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's
because
a
helicopter, I've flown in helicopter, they cost $1,000 an hour to rent. $1,000 an hour. So to get one pot plant.
Oh yeah.
You know, this is ludicrous. And you're a bunch of idiots. You know, you ain't got the sense of a crab apple. You know, I'm sorry you don't. Yeah, Florida went medical, which they had a hard fight, but this last year they had millionaires giving them money, giving them money to win. So Florida won.
Yeah, that's been quite a battle. They've had several elections, and we were close, but yeah, they finally made it.
Now here's interesting. Certain minors allowed cannabis under Connecticut medical marijuana program, which is kind of interesting. On October 1st, 2016, a new law that improves Connecticut's medical marijuana program went into effect. Among other changes, for the first time, certain patients who are under 18 now qualify to use medical cannabis in the Constitution state. Previously, Connecticut had been the only medical cannabis state to completely exclude seriously ill minors from its program. That's real progress. That's real progress. Because there's a case of the couple that lived in Michigan with their 10-year-old daughter, and she was having 1,000 seizures a month. And somehow they secured some cannabis tincture you put on the tongue. And she went down to a few seizures a week. And Sapa Grupa, who is a doctor on TV, he wasn't for cannabis, but he took up for this family because a little 10-year-old girl told her school teacher that she was using cannabis. And the next thing the mother knew, she had the police knocking on her door. They were going to arrest the mother. And so the family said, we gotta do something. So they promptly moved to Colorado, where they could get oil for the little girl. And she just has a few seizures a month, but the government won't recognize that.
Right.
You know, down from 1,000 a month to a few.
I just saw a video clip of I forgot where it was, but it's a dispensary that's especially a family-friendly dispensary where they can bring their kids in and they can get their medicine for their kids too.
See, that slowly happens. That slowly happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like this.
Yeah.
The study, opioid prevalence falls following medical cannabis legalization. And that, who was it, that stupid lady doctor who compared opioids to cannabis?
I don't remember.
That's just in the past month.
Oh, yeah.
And here it shows you that opioid use falls following the medical cannabis legalization. I think people would rather use something that's legal.
Yeah, that's one of the things that defy logic. Like they said that medical marijuana, states with medical marijuana, that the kids will be using more and more pot, and actually teen use is down in the states that have medical. Which
that happened in Amsterdam too.
Yeah.
The use by teenagers of cannabis fell.
Well, it's like drinking. When I turned 21, I quit drinking. It wasn't as much fun.
Yeah,
there's part of that too.
There's something to that.
Yeah. Yeah, so, well, we got to wrap up the show here, and we're out here putting out the information, so come on down, and every Monday at 5:30, or most every Monday at 5:30, come on down to the studios of Community CTV 29 in behind Sheldon High School. You're welcome to come by and just watch, visit, and be on the show if you like. No obligation, but love to have you come in and tell your cannabis story.
503, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. We got 4 seconds.
503-378-4582. 503.
Call the governor.
37.